Hello and welcome to this Global Data podcast brought to you by Oximio. My name is Alexander Love and I'm a senior editor for Global Data. This podcast is titled Adaptive Logistics: The Need to Rapidly Adjust in a Changing Clinical Landscape. Clinical trials are the backbone of discovering new cures and therapies, but navigating the complexities of regulations, quality standards, and logistics can often feel like a daunting prospect. In this podcast, we speak with clinical logistics experts at Oximio about the need to adapt services to accommodate the multiple factors impacting the clinical environment. I'd like to welcome our guests, Zayheda Khan and Dmytro Zavada. So, Zayheda, would you like to introduce yourself and a bit about your role at Oximio?
Thank you, Alex. Great to be here. My name is Zayheda Khan. I am Chief Commercial Officer and Managing Director of the UK for Oximio, located at the headquarters in the UK. And we're very excited to be here today to discuss everything about Oximio and maybe give some insights as well. Dmytro, over to you.
Thanks, Zayheda. Hi, Alex. Hello to all listeners. My name is Dmytro Zavada, and I'm the team leader of the Key Account Management Department at Oximio. My main role is to provide our clients with high quality and efficient solutions for their clinical logistics needs. And I also coordinate the work of my team. We manage the key client accounts, build long-term relationships with the clients, and ensure that each project is tailored to meet specific client requirements. So looking forward to our productive discussion.
Excellent. Thank you both for your introductions. So today we're going to take a deeper dive into Oximio and learn a bit more about the company and how you support clinical trials around the world. Zayheda, can you give our listeners a little bit of background on Oximio, please?
Sure, absolutely. So Oximio is a specialized we do specialized logistics for clinical trial. Also, as the title, clinical trial logistics expertise within our industry. Our main goal is to make sure that all the materials, whether it be drugs, medical devices, or even biological samples, get to where they need to get to on time, in the right condition, and of course, fully compliant with regulations, and more importantly, within budget as well, knowing that obviously there's a financial element that goes with the logistics environment. The Oximio organization, we have been around for over 20 years, and we're proud to work with both big pharma and small biotech companies across the world in all locations, as you'll be able to hear in the further information that we'll be providing in this podcast.
Okay, brilliant. So we'll be talking a lot about what Oximio does around the world. And Dmytro, as Oximio's key account team leader, perhaps you can share with us why you think it's important that the significance of logistics in clinical trials.
Thanks for the question, Alex. Absolutely. I think a lot of people, they hear the term of logistics, but they don't really realize how critical it is, especially in such field as clinical trials. We here are talking about the life-saving drugs, patient safety, and complex international regulations. In the current circumstance, it's so important. So I believe that this podcast is a good way for us to explain a bit about the work we do and why it's so important to the world. Plus, definitely we want to help our potential clients and or partners understand how we can make their trials more efficient, smoother, and more cost effective.
Excellent. So we're going to do a bit of a company overview now. Let's start with a little bit of history. Zayheda, you've touched on it already, but perhaps Dmytro, you could give us a bit more background as Oximio was founded, how it was founded, and the origin stories.
Thanks, Alice. Yeah, great question, and it's definitely a long story. So Oximio was founded in 2004 with the first clinical trial warehouse in Ukraine, and it all started with just a simple idea to bring together logistics expertise with the highly specialized needs of clinical trials. And when we first started, it was just a handful of people, trying to solve a very specific problem, making sure that clinical trial materials arrived on a time and in perfect conditions. And then as the company grew, we started expanding our services, regions, adding different things like temperature controlled storage, packaging, comparator sourcing, distribution to the clinical side. So the idea is to cover all the basis needs for the clinical trials. So now we are physically presented in the different regions with strategically located warehouses in Europe, MENA, Africa, North America, LATAM, and APAC. And in conclusion, with the help of our own locations plus our partner depot network, we provide our solutions in more than 50 countries.
Thank you. I can tell you're pretty passionate about the mission behind Oximio. Zayheda, how would you describe the company's core mission?
It's exactly that, Alex. We're passionate about what we do, and that's what keeps us really motivated. Our mission, straightforward, pretty simple. That at the heart of what we do, we're making sure that clinical trials can move forward without any interruptions and delays. We have been in the business, as Dmytro has just indicated, for over 20 years. And during that time, we have built a very strong foundation, but reputation for being reliable, and knowing the knowledge of how to handle even the most complex of logistics challenges, whether it's moving sensitive materials across different countries or dealing with strict regulations. We've got the experience and the know-how and the knowledge within the global network framework to make it happen. For us, I think, again, like Dmytro's outlined, it's really important for us to ensure that we're supporting the development of new treatments and cures that can make a real difference in people's life. And that is one of the reasons that we do what we do. We're proud to be the reliable partner for clinical trials, no matter how complex or challenging the logistics might be. We're here to make sure that everything runs smoothly. And even if there are challenges, we always aim to come up with a solution for those challenges as well. So it's really important that those trials can move forward and ultimately improve patient outcomes and the needs of the patients for those medicinal therapeutic requirements.
Great. And Dmytro, what would you say makes Oximio stand out from other logistics companies? Why should clients choose you?
Thanks, Alex. I like to reply to such questions. I think it comes down to a few things. The first one, we understand the unique challenges of clinical trials. And this is not just any logistics work. It's about handling regulated materials, maintaining strict timelines for the delivery, and ensuring everything is compliant and as per local regulations in each specific country. Second, we have extensive experience working globally. We manage logistics across the various regions in the world, which gives us that part of flexibility and expertise to meet different requirements of the project, no matter where the trial is taking the place. Third, we take pride in our exceptional quality system. I always say this to our clients. We ensure that every aspect of our service, from planning, to the end, to the execution, meets the highest standards. And finally, I believe that the main important argument here is our customer first mentality. We don't just offer a pure or simple service. We always build strong partnerships with our clients, working together to solve their challenges and definitely deliver the results.
Brilliant, thank you. We'll move on to talk about geography and scope of work. Let's talk about reach. Where does Oximio operate? Zayheda, would you like to answer that?
Absolutely. We work, as a headline, we work all over the world. Our main focus is Europe, Africa, and the MENA regions, and these are the regions that we have our own Oximio depots. But an extension of that is, as we've indicated earlier in the conversation, is our partner depot network, which actually extends our reach even further. We've been involved in clinical trials in other emerging markets where there's a real push for more research. So our goal is really to make sure that we can handle clinical trials anywhere, no matter the region, no matter what challenges there may be for those regions. So in essence, in answer to the question, Alex, is that the clinical trials are set globally, and we've built up the know-how and the infrastructure to be able to meet the logistics needs for all regions. And you know, we can, I think, like Dmytro had mentioned, over 50 countries through our own depots and through our partner depot networks. So, in a nutshell, Oximio is is a globally operating company.
Thank you. So, Dmytro, do you have a few examples of companies or regions where you've worked in recently?
Yeah, sure, Alex. Probably a couple of months ago, we helped the client deliver supplies across the Europe and in the US for the phase 3 trial. That meant coordinating shipments across several countries and even regions in our case, each with its own regulatory requirements, and let's not forget about the strict customs procedures. We definitely managed all of that, ensuring everything was compliant and handled correctly, delivered in time. Another interesting case, we also delivered critical samples to remote areas in Southeast Asia for another trial, and in that both cases, we had to ensure everything arrived, as I said, on time, in perfect conditions, and with all the required documentation as per the highest standards in GXP. So the key here is that we have people on the ground in every region, which means for us and for our clients, we can navigate the complex regulatory landscape and make sure everything runs smoothly, no matter, how tricky the logistics get.
Yeah, that sounds very complex. It's amazing that you're able to manage it all. I imagine time zones alone are going to be a challenge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You touched probably, as our pain point. When you're dealing with multiple time zones, it can get tricky, 100%. But as I said, we have got a great team that knows how to manage all the moving parts, and it's all about the communication and a lot of planning ahead, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. So now we will talk about the services that you offer. So Zayheda, what exactly does Oximio do for its clients?
Okay. It's there's three main areas that I will go through, and it's basically Oximio provides full end-to-end logistics services. And what does that mean? It means that we can manage everything from not only the initial planning stages, but all the way through to the final delivery of the clinical trial, whether it be medicinal products or devices or products, to the end destination. Our services cover more than just transportation. It covers also storage, packaging, and distribution solutions, and all are tailor-made to the unique needs of the clinical trial and the customer in need of those particular services. But we just don't stop there. And I think when we say just logistics services, it's like, you're moving products from A to B. But there's more to it than that. And this is where I think the expertise of Oximio can support a lot of the client requirements and needs. Oximio can act as an importer of record, and that means handling all the import-export requirements and ensuring full compliance with local regulations. And this is critical when you're working across different countries, and it's always that, the client may not always have that knowledge, but we are here to overcome those challenges that they may face and actually help and support them through that process of bringing products into the country or maybe out of a specific country as well, to handle all of those documentation requirements. The storage capabilities are also extensive, in addition to the capabilities that have been, indicated above. We offer the different temperature control storage in various conditions, and these include ambient, refrigerated, frozen, ULT, and now even LN2, which is a new, I suppose, temperature controlled environment for cell and gene therapy, for example. And these services are provided, these temperature controlled environments are provided in all our locations, but in particular LN2 is growing in most of our locations and will certainly be up and ready in the next 6 to 8 months in all of our locations, expanding from Ukraine and Georgia, where we currently have the LN2 support network. In addition to these services, we also offer what we call comparator sourcing across all our locations. And the terminology of comparator sourcing is the ability to provide additional medication that is required for a clinical study, whether it be a comparator, whether it be compassionate medication, ancillaries or devices for that clinical trial to run smoothly. This means that we can actually purchase the drugs locally to support the project. Obviously, supporting it would help with timelines, and sometimes even have a budgetary impact as well, because it may actually reduce the cost of actually purchasing products locally rather than globally. But it also streamlines the logistics by simplifying the procurement and reducing the need for complex international shipments if the products are actually going to be sourced in another country and then being brought into where the clinical trial is being held. And the third arm of the Oximio service portfolio is patient-centric solutions. And we know how important it is to ensure that patients are get the right medication and they're comfortable in actually being on the trial throughout the clinical trial process. And depending on local regulations, we can actually offer solutions such as patient transportation, meal vouchers, accommodation, and even nursing and home healthcare to make the journey for the patient as smooth as possible. So it could be in cases of where the patient has to go to the site, the actual drug and the medication and the nurse goes to the patient of the home. And this could be a game changer for patients who actually may be living far from sites or who are unable to travel. So it actually helps retention of the patient and makes the actual, I suppose, the study a lot more positive in the outcomes. All of these services are really designed with the patient in mind to ensure that the patient has a positive experience while participating in the clinical trial, but also to make sure that the clinical trial is a success. There's a lot of time and obviously financial elements that are being poured into different phases of the trial, and to make it a success it's great to be a part of that journey.
Okay, great. Let's delve a little deeper into that. So, Dmytro, when it comes to the definition of transportation, I imagine it's not all about moving things from A to B. There's a lot more to consider.
Yeah, thanks for the question, like 100%. It's definitely, not that simple. And when we talk about transportation, as Zayheda said, we're always referring to the movement of a clinical trial materials like drugs, IMP, biological samples, or medical devices. And these materials often require our special care, I would say. Some need temperature controlled transport, which is a big part of what we do here at Oximio. We have specialized vehicles for that. And we can also manage air freight and courier services for urgent shipments if needed. And in general, it's all about making sure these sensitive materials are transported under the right temperature conditions and delivered safely and on time to our patients.
Got it. So Now, talking about comparator sourcing, how does that fit into your service portfolio?
Yeah, comparator sourcing is definitely one of the critical services we provide. It involves the procuring the required comparator drugs or even, I don't know, rescue medication, let's say, locally in the regions where the clinical trials are being conducted. It's worth to mention that we have the necessary licenses at all our warehouses to buy the drugs in local markets, and the whole approach simplifies the process for our clients and saves them time and even money. As Zayheda said, instead of navigating the complexity of international strategies and shipping all the drugs, we handle everything locally, from purchasing the drugs to ensuring it meets all regulatory requirements, such, for example, as local labeling. All of this helps streamline the logistics for our clients and make, I would say, the entire process more efficient, especially when you are dealing with multiple trial sites across the different regions in the world.
Of course. Now, let's talk about patient-centric solutions, which are essential for the well-being of participants. What do you mean by that exactly?
Maybe I can take this one, Alex. So I think, as I explained in our Oximio overview, the patient-centric solutions are all about making the clinical trial process as comfortable and as convenient as possible for the patients involved. So patient-centric, you're putting the patient at the center of everything that we do. And it is our mantra as well. Everything that we're doing is for the end, for the end patient. So we really understand that the patient experience also plays a huge role in the success of a clinical trial. And this is why we offer a range of these services designed to make their journey easier, and also then can support the retention of the patient on a clinical trial. And like I indicated, this could include patient transportation to and from clinical sites, meal vouchers, which could be specific meals that have to have a nutritional value, for example, or it could just be meal vouchers that actually are offered for the patient as an incentive to stay on the trial. It could even mean accommodation for parents and the carers of those patients who maybe need to stay near a clinical site. And this is particular so for if a patient is a pediatric patient, for example, they will have obviously a carer who would need to attend the site with them, and they would need to stay maybe close to the clinical site. The additional services that I think I mentioned earlier was the nursing services, and this is really getting the nurse to the patient so that the patients can receive the care within their own home, so they don't actually have to leave to go to a hospital environment. Some individuals, many of us, don't like the hospital environment. You can get anxiety, you can get, it's not, sometimes it's not a nice environment for patients to be in. So if they are at their own home, they can relax, they can make sure that actually they're in their own comfort environment. Obviously, these services depend on country to country's regulations, and they very much are designed to improve the patient comfort. But we make sure that, if it is a viable solution for our clients, then we are there to potentially offer it in the country that is that allows patient-centric services direct to patient to be performed in those countries, and it's actually keeping them engaged in the whole trial process. So we have that knowledge of which countries are able to support patient-centric solutions, and we'd be able to happily discuss that with clients who would be interested.
Thank you, Zayheda. Sounds like you're really focusing on the ins and outs and both the logistics and the patient experience. I can see how all of that would make a huge difference in the success of a clinical trial.
Alex, let me also probably add here that definitely the logistics of a clinical trials can be incredibly complex. And, it's not just about getting materials, as you said, from point A to point B. It's also about supporting the people, who are the central to the trial, the patients, by offering logistics, by offering this patient-centric solution services. We help ensure that patients have a positive experience during this clinical trial journey, which ultimately helps the clinical trial run smoothly and improves the quality of the data collected.
Brilliant. So we'll move on to success stories and case studies for specific examples of your services. Could you provide some real life examples, Dmytro? Can you share a success story where Oximio has really made a difference?
Alex, let me tell you about one interesting case. And one of our proudest moments was working with a global pharmaceutical company on a large-scale clinical trials. They needed to manage shipments of temperature-sensitive IMP to over probably 20 clinical trial sites across Europe in different countries. And the good point that we were brought in early to evaluate the current and available supply chain routes and figure out how to make this even better for them. And our team did a deep risk assessment to identify any potential challenges like regulatory issues or potential delays during the study. And then our project management team, together with import expert coordinators, they came up with several supply strategies to give our client the ability to choose the best strategy for them. And from there, we handled everything: temperature control, transportation from the sender country to each destination, dealing with customs and navigating the regulations in all those different countries. And yeah, just want to take here, thanks to all of that upfront planning, and our team's coordination here, everything arrives on time and in perfect conditions. The trial runs smoothly with 0 delays, and the client was really impressed with how we kept everything moving without a hitch.
Yeah, of course. I imagine keeping everything on time and in perfect condition is really key when lives are on the line.
Exactly, 100%. Every shipment is critical and every delay can have a significant impact, let's be honest, on the trial. That's why our team works so hard, to ensure everything runs as planned.
Of course. So looking ahead, let's talk about future trends and innovations. What do you see as the future of clinical trials logistics, Zayheda? Are there any trends or technologies that you're particularly excited about?
Absolutely, and I don't think our passion stops here. There's a lot more to be excited about. One of the biggest trends that we're seeing is obviously the increased use of digital tools in logistics, and this could be either real-time tracking, temperature monitoring is becoming more advanced, and that's really a game changer. How you can monitor or your products from either leaving the depot all the way through to the end destination, and we are expanding the use and the validation of such tools, whether it's internally or whether we actually partnering up with vendors who are able to help us with those tracking solutions. These tools can be not only they're quite advanced, but they could also be then the game changer, because you're actually having much more control on your temperature control logistics path. And with these tools, we can then keep an eye on shipments in real time, no matter where they are in the world. And then should anything untoward happen, we can make immediate adjustments if needed. It gives the clients a lot more transparency and control, and over their shipments. And this is critical. It's critical for them, but it's also critical for us when we're working with, as Dmytro has mentioned, medicinal products, but also temperature sensitive materials, and also the patients at the end of the day needing those materials. So what we try and make sure, if there are any challenges throughout that logistic pathway, that we can overcome that. Another really exciting trend that I think we've spoken about through obviously myself and Dmytro here is the patient-centric logistics. There's more and more, I suppose, discussion around direct to patient, I suppose, services. And this is something that, I've certainly had discussed with myself in a lot of forums in the last year, and it's becoming more and more of a topic. And again, it's the importance of making sure that it becomes more patient-centric, and we're helping the clients to offer that better experience for patients and participants for their clinical trial. And it's important that, like we indicated again, that the retention of those patients and better data quality. It's important for the end result is the data of that clinical trial. And if you've got high quality data, then it means that your clinical trial is much more of a success than if you have patients who've dropped out and then you have to re-recruit into the clinical trials. Lastly, but by no means least, is that we're also looking, like I indicated, the expansion of our specialized storage options. And this is temperature regimes such as liquid nitrogen, extra, minus 190 degrees Celsius. And these are for whether it's cell and gene therapy, but this temperature regime is becoming more and more required, but it is very complex, that the need for ultra cold and what is obviously liquid nitrogen ultra cold is growing. And we're excited to expand these capabilities to our clients in our new regions such as Europe and the Middle East, but also to help our clients manage the critical elements for these temperature regimes. Another progress that we've also indicated is our UK portfolio, is that we've obtained a WDA license in the UK that allows us for the comparator sourcing elements in the UK, taking into account obviously the Brexit element. That is going to be a huge, I think, service offering for us moving forward, and then bringing in other regions as well, whether that be US, Canada, and also APAC, to bring them on board as well into our Oximio portfolio, and to obviously extend our service offerings in all of those regions as well. So very much exciting times ahead. There's a mission that we keep on growing. We keep on being passionate about what we do, but also looking at new avenues of growth as well. So we'll be looking forward to sharing that with you in the forthcoming months.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing more about it. So it's clear that Oximio is working really hard to lead the way when it comes to clinical trial logistics, from cutting edge tech to patient focused services and global reach. We are covering all the bases really. Before we finish up though, Zayheda, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about where Oximio is headed in the future?
Thanks, Alex. And it's been great having this discussion with you, and also having Dmytro here supporting all the elements from the customer-centric perspective. But realistically, we're just looking for ways to make your clinical trials run even smoother, bringing in new technologies, improving patient care and patient retention to the clinical trial network, and expanding also our global network. We are really focused on staying ahead of the game to keep our clients wherever you may be working around the world, to make your challenges, we can overcome those challenges with you. So all I can say is, really, if you're looking for a clinical trial logistics partner, please reach out to Oximio. We're here to make sure that we can overcome the complexities of your logistics pathway. and we're here to really care about your projects, your not only your clinical trials, but also your needs. So we'd love to help you. So look forward to hearing from you.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Alice. It's been a pleasure for us, and we're really excited about what is ahead, and we can wait to continue helping bring new treatments to patients everywhere.
Absolutely. And a big thank you to everyone who has listened to this podcast. If you'd like to find out more about Oximio and how they can support your study, be sure to visit the website oximio.com. Until next time, take care and have a happy new year.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.